am a woman who has a mission on her heart and every day wakes up trying to figure out how to reach more people so that they can live a more vibrant and energetic and healthy life, and help them get off of the rat wheel, that like hamster wheel of life that just flings you around, where you don't feel in control, where you feel like everything's overwhelming and that there's never time for you. And so like, that's who I am. I am the woman who is out there trying to help you create harmony between your health, relationships, and the way you earn money, because all of those together make you a healthy person collectively.
Oh, I love that. I love that. How did you get to this place? Because I know that we sometimes get really passionate about the things that we have sometimes felt missing in the past. I'd love to hear a bit about your background before I hear about how you are now serving powerfully, in the workspace.
Yeah, it all kind of goes together, Bola, because I'm a girl who went on her first diet when she was like 10 or 11. And I had done, I don't know what the diets you have across the pond are, but like here it was cabbage soup, Atkins, South Beach, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, all of those Nutrisystem, like all of these diets I had been on all before I was like 18. And so my whole life I was chasing weight loss from the time it was conscious that I was too big, and that I could lose 5 to 10 pounds and then I'd be like one of the pretty skinny girls. And that developed into an eating disorder over time. And I had developed binge eating. And in my 20s, it had gotten so bad that I literally couldn't control myself around food, even if I was crying, even if I was sobbing, begging with myself. I experienced burnout. So you take my life with dieting and weight loss, and then you add on top my career burnout. And me recognizing that like I had been ignoring all of the flags and all of the signals. And I was telling myself, I was like, Tiff, you're just being too sensitive. You're being dramatic. Just push through. You're capable of doing this. Don't let them know you're not capable by saying like it's too much. So I was ignoring all of my body's cues. That was like that final piece of that. I had the health under control enough. I had the work under control enough. I had my family under control enough. But they lived on all of these separate islands. And it was like, why? Why am I treating my health separately from my job and from my family? Because I'm a whole person. And that's where this version of my company and business comes from, which is we're whole people. And so like my health and my relationships and the way I earn money, I've got to treat them as integrated beings, because that's how it really is. I can't just focus on one until something else blows up and then divert my attention.
Just to make it very, very clear, emotional eating is what, as you would find it?
I would say my definition of, at the most basic level, is using food to fill a need.
So welcome to this episode of the Daily Soul Bytes show. I am your host, Bola Abimbola. This is the show where we interview guest authors, coaches, and entrepreneurs in the fields of spirituality, psychology, and leadership to share their insights for the expansion of collective consciousness. And today I have a very special guest, Tiffany Simms. Welcome to the show, Tiffany.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you and to just chat with the people
Same
that
here.
are
I love talking to you, Tiffany, because I've been on your show, and so this is really nice for us to have this second time or third time around, actually. So this is really nice. I'll read a bit about your bio, just a bit, and then you can tell us more. Tiffany Simms is a holistic wellness and high performance coach. She helps lifelong dieters overcome burnout and lose weight by healing their relationship with food and exercise without adding more to their mental load and to-do list. And I'd love you to tell us more about what you do, Tiffany. Well, first of all, who is Tiffany Simms? Tell us more about you.
Yeah, I love this question. And I love when someone says, like, who are you? Because if you had asked me, who's Tiffany, even just 5 years ago, I would have started with a title and a job and a this, that, and the other. But like, I'm a human first. And so, like, who is Tiffany? She is a woman who loves the water and she loves her dog. And she has two nieces, and her favorite color is pink. And she's obsessed with Run Disney and all things Disney, actually. I think Walt Disney was a brilliant man. And I am a woman who has a mission on her heart and every day wakes up trying to figure out how to reach more people so that they can live a more vibrant and energetic and healthy life. And help them get off of the rat wheel, that like hamster wheel of life that just flings you around, where you don't feel in control, where you feel like everything's overwhelming and that there's never time for you. And so, like, that's who I am. I am the woman who is out there trying to help you create harmony between your health, relationships, and the way you earn money, because all of those together make you a healthy person collectively.
Mm. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love the way you define yourself by the things you enjoy, by your passion, by the things that make you smile, make you, just make you feel a sense of well-being. How did you get to this place? Because I know that we sometimes get really passionate about the things that we have sometimes felt missing in the past. I'd love to hear a bit about your background before I hear about how you are now serving powerfully, in the workspace.
Yeah, it all kind of goes together, Bola, because I'm a girl who went on her first diet when she was like 10 or 11. And I had done, I don't know what the diets you have across the pond are, but like here it was cabbage soup, Atkins, South Beach, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, all of those Nutrisystem, like all of these diets I had been on all before I was like 18. And so my whole life I was chasing weight loss from the time it was conscious that I was too big, and that I could lose 5 to 10 pounds and then I'd be like one of the pretty skinny girls. And that developed into an eating disorder over time. And I had developed binge eating. And in my 20s, it had gotten so bad that I literally couldn't control myself around food, even if I was crying, even if I was sobbing, begging with myself. And so I had checked myself. I was working at Johns Hopkins at the time. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm surrounded by the best of the best. I've got to go check myself into an outpatient clinic because I can't do this on my own. What I'm doing isn't working. And while the eating disorder clinic didn't help me heal myself from binge eating, it actually made my binge eating worse. It was a really big step when I look backwards in the puzzle that brought me here. Because from there, it went, you know what? If everything isn't working, if what the doctor is prescribing and if what the eating disorder clinic is prescribing, and if the Biggest Loser meal plan and workout program isn't working for me, like, something's got to give and I got to figure this out on my own. And so I dove all in to taking classes and certifications for personal training and nutrition and weight loss, because I was like, there's something missing that I don't know. So I'm just going to learn everything to help myself. And you fast forward over the years, and now here I am taking everything I learned over 25 years of living and applying it to everyone else around me, because what they show you and what they teach you in the magazines at the checkout line of the grocery store, or what the doctors are telling you, it's just not the truth for people who have real life experiences. And so it was that moment of like realizing the piece that really clicked it all together for me, Bola, was I experienced burnout. So you take my life with dieting and weight loss, and then you add on top my career burnout, and me recognizing that like I had been ignoring all of the flags and all of the signals. And I was telling myself, I was like, Tiff, you're just being too sensitive. You're being dramatic. Just push through. You're capable of doing this. Don't let them know you're not capable by saying like it's too much. So I was ignoring all of my body's cues, and I ended up in my doctor's office thinking I was having a heart attack. And that was the moment when she looked at me, and it wasn't the first time she had said it, but she said, Tiff, if something doesn't change, the next time it will be a heart attack. And that was like that final piece of that. I had the health under control enough. I had the work under control enough. I had my family under control enough. But they lived on all of these separate islands. And it was like, why? why am I treating my health separately from my job and from my family? Because I'm a whole person. And that's where this version of my company and business comes from, which is we're whole people. And so like my health and my relationships and the way I earn money, I've got to treat them as integrated beings because that's how it really is. I can't just focus on one until something else blows up and then divert my attention. And so like that's where that piece of harmony came in, Bola, on top of all of my years of studying and trial and error and doing all the stuff, that it was like the secret to true health is creating harmony between your health, your relationships, and the way you earn money. And the world wasn't teaching us that.
Mm. Oh, wow. I love that. So the programs you offer, Tiffany, how do you run them? Because that is a very powerful formula you've got there. How do you serve? What can your clients expect when they come to you?
My biggest thing is let me help you heal your relationship with food and exercise. Let me teach you how to become an intuitive eater. And the first question and the first what's the roadblock that I come up to with so many women is intuitive eating got me here. Like that, my intuition is broken. Like I listen to myself and now I don't, like this isn't working. But the truth is that you weren't intuitively eating because from such a young age, you have been told that your body was wrong. You're not hungry, we just ate. You're not hungry, dinner's in an hour, have a little snack. You can't be thirsty, we're not gonna stop to use the bathroom. So like every time, don't cry about that, it's nothing to cry about. Even though all of your feelings were hurt and everything felt scary and unsafe in those moments. So your whole life from such a young age, you've been taught that all of the cues your body was giving you were wrong. And so you grew up not trusting yourself in relationships with others, not trusting yourself to make the right career decisions, not trusting yourself with food. And so I want to teach you how to actually listen because your body's so smart. And for someone who says, my body isn't smart, it's broken and got me here, I want you to pause for a second. Your body is breathing right now listening to Bola and I speak. You didn't tell it to do that. It's pumping blood. You didn't tell it to do that. It is grumbling when your tummy's hungry. It's giving you those weird feelings in the pit of your stomach that you're ignoring. It's trying to talk to you. It sweats when you're hot. It shivers when you're cold. Your body is so incredibly smart. We've just been overriding it and ignoring the cues. And so by teaching you how to actually listen and figure out what those cues mean and what to do with them, like becoming your own little scientist of your body and your life, you then learn that when you have the permission slip to eat whatever you want, and you know how those foods react with your body, not Bola's body, not my body, but your body, you start realizing that all of those foods and things that you were fighting so hard to keep because you didn't want to be deprived, all of a sudden you're like, actually, I don't think that belongs to me anymore. I feel like crap when I go and eat those foods. And next thing you know, like you're eating more vegetables, you're moving your body more, not because someone gave you a meal plan and told you had to, but because you actually know what your body uniquely is craving and needs to feel its best. And so it's that intuitive eating piece plus the life coaching. I'm a certified high performance coach, as Bola mentioned. And then we go through the high performance coaching model to expand your identity and get your life in order so that you can hold this new person capable of all of these dreams and goals and feeling healthy and vibrant, alive. Because if we don't do that part, Bola, so many times we landslide back into the old habits and patterns and coping mechanisms that made us miserable, but that we were comfortable in.
Mm, mm. I love that. And I love what you said about intuitive eating because, I know when I started to really develop my relationship with food, because I was also overweight. And I definitely ate all I could. And because emotional eating is quite a very difficult thing to overcome because the emotions do get in the way of us having that freedom. What would you say is from your clients, from what you've got with your clients, and from also from your experience? Emotional eating. Let's talk about emotional eating because that is one of the biggest challenges, I think. What is emotional eating from your perspective? And what are the challenges that cause it? And what are the kind of things that, because intuitive eating is definitely the solution. But before we can get in touch with our intuition, we really have to come to terms with those emotions. And I love the way you have described it. You've talked about it a lot already, but just to make it very, very clear, emotional eating is what, as you would find it?
I would say my definition of, at the most basic level, is using food to fill a need.
Mm,
And a lot of times I mentioned that, like, getting in tune with your habits and your patterns and your coping mechanisms. So often as we were growing up, we hadn't learned the tools yet to regulate ourselves. And a lot of us learn to use food to regulate our nervous system and to find comfort. Because, like, I mean, still to this day, I love a good peppermint patty. Something about that dark chocolate and that mint combo is like so yummy to me. And when I bite into a peppermint patty, I can feel my shoulders relax. And I think that so many people have that food or that beverage, that vice for themselves that they used in a time of need, in a time of survival, where they were using food to regulate themselves, to calm themselves down, to bring just a moment of peace into their body because they didn't know how else to do it. They didn't have any other solutions. And when that happens, all of a sudden, now when everything starts triggering you, everything's starting to make you uncomfortable, you know that food or alcohol or whatever your thing is bringing you that comfort and that sense of peace, even if it's just for a split second before you hate yourself for doing it. It's that, like, split second where everything in the world feels safe.
mm,
And so one of the first things that I really recommend when people is it's awareness. It's not shaming yourself for doing that, but it's like that pause of, like, oh, this served me for a period of life. This served me to survive a really dark and hard time, but this isn't serving me anymore. What are some other things that I can do in this moment to fill this need that I actually have? And it takes patience with yourself and loving yourself and being willing to explore what's really going on and new mechanisms, new habits, new patterns for yourself.
mm. I love that. I think you hit the nail on the head beautifully, beautifully, as you always do, Tiffany.
The reason I say I can explain it so well and the words are there is because I have literally lived through it. And I know what that evolution and that path really is like. And I think that was one of the biggest things that was missing when I was going to the experts. They knew what to do on paper. The science and the math of weight loss is the science and the math of weight loss. Like, we know what that is. But I think the piece that was missing was that, like, they never really experienced what I was going through to really know how to help me through it. And so when I would come back week after week and I was still gaining weight and still had no control, they would tell me I must not want it bad enough, which is a lie. I wanted it so badly. Like, I wanted it so badly, but no one held space for me to navigate the messiness of how I actually got to become a person who couldn't control herself around food.
Yes.
You know?
It's
And
powerful.
so I just wanted to give myself a second there to really, like, acknowledge the growth in the path and, like, all that I've come through to be able to articulate those feelings and share really what's going on for someone.
Now that's beautiful. Now I think there is that thing about the self-awareness, because we can want something bad enough, but the how, knowing the tools we need to use, and the tools we used yesterday may not be the tools we need to use today.
Yes.
So being able to navigate it and being kind, not in a hard way, because we can't use these tools in a hard way. It's got to be from a place of compassion, being kind to ourselves, to know that this thing that I used yesterday helped me yesterday, but it's not helping me today. And being kind to ourselves to now use what we need to do today. It's such a it's hard for the self to heal the self. So this is why getting help. Getting help cannot be a dirty thing to do. We've got to be open to getting help, because trying to get the self to heal the self, it can't be a struggle. So I love that there are people like you, Tiffany, who are really helping others to really come to that place of freedom, based on what you have learned, and the honesty that you apply to your work is really meaningful. Is amazing.
Oh,
So
thank
where
you.
can people find you, Tiffany?
Yeah, I am on your favorite social media channel at the Tiffany Simms, Simms. You can connect with me there wherever your favorite platform is. And I just really want something just popped in, Bola, and I really hope it's okay
Yes.
to share. I was
Yes.
talking with a new client on Monday, and she said that I gave a training last Friday, and she said that this one thing really stuck out for her, and I want to share it with your audience. I had shared that if you're someone who has been, we'll use working out for example. If you're someone who's been trying to work out and get a gym routine, and as far as you got was buying the new shoes, and you're beating yourself up because you haven't actually worked out yet. Or maybe you got the new shoes and you've gotten dressed every single morning, but you can't seem to drag yourself to do the workout yet. I want you to stop beating yourself up, and I want to give you a new lens to look that through. You're someone who's, if you wake up every day and put your workout clothes on, whether you work out or not, you are practicing becoming someone who works out daily. And that counts way more than forcing yourself to do something for a week and then not showing up for another 7 years. And so, give yourself permission to be exactly where you are right now and start practicing the next step. And you practice it until you get really good at it. I didn't wake up one day and run 250 miles through Disney World. It took showing up over and over and over again and practicing becoming a runner before I was able to do it. And the same is true with food, and the same is true with your career goals. No one wakes up the VP. You have to practice becoming the person capable of holding space in those roles. And so I want to give that gift to you today, because I think so often we forget because we're not there yet, and we think we're failing all the time, when in reality, we're just practicing every day, trying to become the person that we're trying to become.
Yeah, it is a journey. It is definitely a journey, and it's different levels. I love that. I love that. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for those really, really juicy and, perfect expertise. I love it. I love it. So I would love to thank my audience for joining me today, and I'd love to thank Tiffany again for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Daily Soul Vibes Show. Thank you. Bye-bye.